Okay, guys, I'm back again, getting in a good rhythm of doing the NBA Daily podcast. My name's Eric. You can follow all of my official plays at Twitter or X at Easy Money Wins. Again, Easy Money Wins with an S at the end. So, NBA betting is a roller coaster, guys. I said that when I first tweeted out, like before the start of the season, like have some amazing days, can have some bad days, can just go up and down, like kind of like the stock market, up and down, up and down. But as long as I'm trending a little bit each week, each month in the green, we're going good. So getting back to my winning ways, tonight's a little frustrating, but it's how it goes. It's how it goes. So we'll see how it shakes out. Still got the Lakers and the Timberwolves. But let's focus on Thursday's card, guys. There's only one game, so I will go over it. I'll go over it like basically how I handicap all my games, right? So I'll just go start to finish like that. A little bit different style than how I normally do it, since there's only one game. I have a little bit more time, so I'll give insight on how I look at all these games. So first, I go to the injury report and I check the status. So I'm on the Dallas Mavericks right now. Luka Doncic is probable, and PJ Washington is doubtful. They got Derek Lively back last game against the Warriors. That was huge. They missed Lively so much, so that was big getting him back. So, I mean, they have a really good lineup still, ready to go in Utah, right? They got Luka, most likely, Kyrie, Clay, Najee Marshall start for PJ Washington, and then Gafford and Lively. You got Dinwiddie off the bench, Jaden Hardy off the bench, Quentin Grimes off the bench. They're good. Mavericks are straight. They're off a loss. I think they're off a couple losses. So then after I look at the injuries for the Mavericks, now I'll look at the schedule. So they're off of 3 losses in a row, guys. 3 losses. So automatically, like if it's a good team with high aspirations like the Mavericks, and they're off 3 losses, and especially they're off of 3 close losses, guys. Literally, their last 3 losses combined, point total wise, they've lost by 6 total points. They've only been outscored 6 points over the last 3 games combined. So really tough losses to Phoenix, Denver, and Golden State. This is a third game. This is the final game of a road trip. So then after I look at like, hey, what current form is the team in? Now I will look to see if they're on a back-to-back. So they did not play tonight. Okay, they played Tuesday. That was the last time they played. And then I look to see if they play on Friday to see if this is the first game of a back-to-back. They don't. They play at home against San Antonio on Saturday. And then I also like to look at who is their next opponent. Is San Antonio a rival? Is it a look-ahead spot? No, San Antonio is just a team that they can whoop up on if they really want to give max effort. So they're not looking ahead, all right? Because in this spot, they're playing Utah. Utah's not they're not respecting Utah either, but they know they have to get a win here. Okay, so they have to get a win here. They don't have to, but it's the West. You got to start winning if you want to make the playoffs. You have to start winning. And right now they have 6 losses. They're 5-6, so they're under 500. So I feel already looking at this, I know this is a huge Dallas spot. Huge Dallas spot, in my opinion. You don't want to fall 2 games under 500 this early in the season. Get back to 500. Go home. Beat San Antonio, because then on Sunday you have Oklahoma City. You're at Oklahoma City. So This is an important game right here. So that's my thought process already. This is a good spot for Dallas. All right. So now let's look at Utah. Let's look at the injury situation for Utah. Everyone looks good except for Walker Kessler. It looks like Walker Kessler is out again. Let me just double check. Yes, Walker Kessler is out Thursday against the Mavericks, and that's huge because Kessler's their big guy down low. Kessler. He's a hot name on the trade market right now. He's a good player. John Collins is not a starting NBA player. He's not, right? At this point in his career, he's just not that anymore. And he's not a starting center. They're very small. So Gafford and Lively, they should be able to have their way down low. That's big time advantage already, paint protection and scoring in the paint, pick and roll, all that stuff for the Dallas Mavericks. So let's check the schedule for the Utah Jazz. They're off one loss. They've been alternating wins, losses the last 5 games. They had a nice little road trip where they went 2-2. Well, I mean that's nice. That's nice for most teams to go 500 on a road trip. It's hard to win on the road in the NBA, even for playoff teams. So they just lost Tuesday. That was their first home game back, and now this is their second home game. They did not play tonight, Wednesday, and they're not playing Friday. So they're rested. No big travel spots. They do go on a 4-game road trip after this game, but they'll leave Friday. They're not leaving directly after this game. So no huge concerns here for the Jazz. They lost the NBA Cup game at home, like I said, to Phoenix on Tuesday. So nothing too crazy, guys. So now that I have all this information like in my head fresh, I don't like to look at the line beforehand. I think, and honestly, in my opinion, and everybody has their process. Everybody has their process, right? Like what works well for them. But in my opinion, do not look at the line before you study the teams. Study the teams, look at the spots, look at the injury situation, and then I come up with what I think the game spread should be. Okay? So like I have not looked at the spread yet, guys. I'm literally guessing in real time right now. I am going to say, let's see, Phoenix was a -5.5 point favorite. So, and that was without Kevin Durant. I'm going to say that maybe the NBA betting markets respect Dallas a little bit more. Maybe they open up around 5.5, -6. I think Dallas wins by 7. So, like me, if I want to bet this game, I'm hoping for -6.5 or under or less. 7's that key number for me. 8 is also right there, but anything less than 7, I'm feeling very comfortable with the Dallas Mavericks. I think it's probably going to be right around 6.5. Let's see what it is, guys. Let's see here. Let's go to the NBA. Let's go here. Wow, 8.5. So yeah, that's high. There's even some -9s. Even some -9. So, I mean, in my opinion, that's a good number. It really is. I mean, it's tough to play that either way. Honestly, I think that's a Utah Jazz number, the +9. I really do. Just because, Dallas, if you look, so now that I know the number, now I go back and I look at, the quality of opponent Dallas has played. What does it look like when they win games? Have they been winning by a lot? Have they been, taking care of business? What's their form, right? And so, the last one was at home against Chicago, November 6th. They won by 20. Then they beat the Magic at home. But again, this is at home. So I like to look at a home road, splits, all that stuff. So their last road win was at Minnesota by 6 points. And then their other road game was at Phoenix. They lost by 12. So, sorry. And then I also like to look at this. Usually before I even like to look at the spread, I do like to look at, have these teams played before yet this season? And they have. So they played the third game of the season. The Mavericks beat the Jazz by 8 points at home. So I'm taking all this into consideration. Like, okay, they beat Chicago by 20, so they can handle that, but that was at home. Haven't had a really situation, comparable to this for the Mavericks, where they're playing a lesser opponent on the road, like the Utah Jazz. So it's kind of a little bit of an unknown situation. You're just really thinking that the Mavericks are going to come out and take care of business. But on the flip side, on the contrary, now I'm going to look at the Jazz. Now I'm going to look at how they are handling, playing at home against good teams. They got smoked at playing Golden State the second game. They played Memphis tough. Sacramento, they lost by a lot. San Antonio, they lost by a lot, and they came out hot. They played well in the first half of those games, most of those games. and now they're just back home again. So, not a lot of data, but and then this is where after I taken into consideration all this stuff, right? Now I'm thinking about what these teams were last season, and what kind of the trend. If they have like a cohesive core, the same core, and really a lot of these teams. I mean, well, not a lot, but these two teams in general, they have a lot of the same guys back, especially the Jazz. The Jazz have like the same roster back, so I know that the Jazz and gosh, I forgot the head coach's name for the Jazz. Gosh, it's that white guy. I forget his name. I forget his name, guys. Um, I think it's Will Hardy. Will Hardy, that's what it is. He usually gets the Jazz to play hard. So, for the Jazz to be getting 9 points at home, like I don't see the Jazz quitting in this game. I really don't. I think the Jazz play well, and I don't necessarily trust Dallas right now to win by margin and on the road. At home, yes, I would trust them to win by like 15, 20 points here, but on the road, even though they're on that 3-game losing streak, I'm telling you guys, I know the Utah Jazz very well. They're going to give a very, very strong effort tomorrow. Okay, so like even if they're down 15 points in the fourth quarter, like 6 minutes left to go, they're going to try to battle back. And I could see Dallas letting them in just at the last second, being down 10 points with like a minute to go, and Jazz get a couple of baskets and they only lose by 7 or 6 points at the end. Could easily see that. So if there's any way I'm playing this game, I'm definitely looking at the Jazz +9, even though they have Walker Kessler out. And stylistically, how the game might unfold with Dallas controlling the paint, I still like the 3-point shooting, and the guards, like the perimeter for Dallas. They're not a very good defensive team. Luka doesn't play great defense. Kyrie doesn't play great defense. Klay Thompson definitely doesn't play great defense at this stage of his career. So I see the Jazz being able to get up some shots and shooting their way into a closer game potentially. So that's the way I'm looking at it from a side perspective. From a totals perspective, I'm only looking over. I know the Mavericks can slow the pace down a little bit and all that, and the Jazz are a little bit streaky shooting. The total's at 231. I'm still like refining my totals betting, but just thinking about this, I do think the Jazz, they've been finding their offensive rhythm and shooting better, and them coming off of a loss, I feel like they're going to shoot the ball better this time. And yeah, so I can only see it going over. I wouldn't want to bet this under, especially with Dallas being able to control the paint. Dallas will probably get whatever they want, and then that'll push the Jazz to want to play harder. But in Jazz, and what that means is, in their term, just trying to keep up. So I think they're just points, and I think the Jazz are able to have a better offensive performance. So I do lean them. I do lean that total over 231.5. You're getting an underdog at +9, and that team total for the Jazz is probably a really good look too. 231 divided by 2 is like 116 roughly, and then you divide the spread by 2. So say 9, say like 4 points. So at worst, it will be like 111.5 for the Jazz most likely. So they just need to get to 112. Still a little high. I'd probably just lean the team, the game total over. Says, that way we get the Mavericks. If they go crazy, then hey, it helps push us over the total. So yeah, guys, that's really how I look at every NBA game, and it's my process. So I hope you enjoyed that, and then we'll gear up for the NBA Cup on Friday. The NBA Cup is it's such a good idea. It really is, and it's great for betting opportunities. So the NBA Cup Friday. Let's see how many games there are on Friday. I think there's like 10. Let's see. Pulling it up right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow, 12 games on Friday, guys. 12 of them. That's awesome. So tomorrow I'll be studying those 12 games. That's what I'll be doing. So that way Friday comes around, we'll be ready to hammer it. Probably be a high volume day. I haven't looked at the games yet, but I'll probably have like close to 30 bets most likely. So Gear up, guys. Gear up. Friday will be a fun one. And follow me on Twitter at EasyMoneyWins to see if I get there with the Jazz +9 or with that total over 231. And until next time, guys, that's it. I'll see you on Thursday night, Friday morning on the next podcast.